As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar rightly said, the Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life, and its spirit is always the spirit of age. On that account, you all have my greetings on the 73rd Republic Day of the world's largest and most vibrant democracy. On the 26th of January 1950, the Constitution of India came into force, and India became an independent republic with a democratic government. And today, India marks her 73rd Republic Day. On this golden day, let us reunite and rejoice in the glory of our nation. Despite adversities of nature, numerous other challenges, and COVID-19 pandemic, the people of India still remain resilient. The key principles of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity should light our path into development. The task of every generation is to seek out the meaning of these values for its time. As did the freedom fighters in their day, so shall we. As we march out in the spirit of brotherhood and nationhood, let us not forget to defend the colors of our flag with all we have. And as the saying goes, "Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara." Happy Republic Day. Good morning to one and all present here. It is my honor to introduce you to our speaker and guest of honor today, Lieutenant Colonel Venkat Raman. He served 25 years in the country's armed forces as an engineer officer in the Corps of Engineers of Indian Army. He held varied appointments, both administrative and technical, during the length of his service. His major responsibilities included company commander, mechanical transport officer, staff officer, deputy commander works engineers in the military engineer services. He is a manager of high-end property in Mumbai with CB Richard Ellis. He is also working for Premier Management Institute in the Mumbai teaching international businesses, strategic operation management, human resource management, entrepreneurship, and business ethics. Moreover, he is an assessor for rights management as and when he gets assignments. He has been DGM OD at Panoramic Group of Companies, Mumbai. He is also responsible for corporate recruitment, training, and development. He has an expansive teaching career that includes a lot of renowned educational institutions. He has also conducted assignments for Aditya Birla Health Insurance on the behalf of Zapsol at Delhi and Mumbai in Feb 2020. Lieutenant Colonel Venkat Raman, an army engineer turned freelance professor and consultant, is rightfully an inspiration to us all. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We are elated to have you here with us today. And I can't wait to learn about all your experiences.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning.
So now we would like to ask you to tell us something about yourself, your experiences, and share some experiences with us.
Definitely. Sound more like a HR interview. Tell me something about yourself. Well, let me start. I'm just 62 now, years young, and fighting fit. Just recovered from COVID, and certainly I've enjoyed my journey. I'm an alumnus of the National Defense Academy. I say this with pride. Khadakwasla is where it all began. This was in the year 1978 when I entered the hallowed portals of the NDA. I was a first-year microbiology student at that time from the Mumbai University, streaking agar plates. I didn't know what to do. There was no career planning in those days. We were just like, herds of sheep. पिताजी ने बोला engineer बनो तो engineer बन गया. पिताजी ने बोला doctor बनो तो doctor बन गया. पिताजी ने बोला IAS बनो तो IAS बन गए. I mean, you guys are pretty advanced compared to what we were. We had a typical herd mentality. And so I tried for all the engineering entrance exams. I flunked in all of them. Bad. I tried for medical entrance because I like biology. I flunked. Worse, I tried for everything else. I flunked again. I tried for SIES Matunga. I flunked. I didn't know what had happened to me. Actually, I think, a little more, I believe, overconfident, as they say, probably. That's another typical trait of males. You agree, Shardul? Little bit. Hai na? Koi nahi. It happens. And that too at that young age, So then reality hit me. Yeah, what the hell? I'm not getting anywhere in life. And then I decided to finally start doing my microbiology in the hope of getting a medical degree after 3 years. Lateral entry. तभी मुझे किसी ने बोला कि भैया there's something called NDA. And I'll just give you a quick recap. Very, very quick. I know I have 10 minutes. Right, Ananya? 10 minutes, out of which 1 minute is already gone. Enough?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So don't worry, I'll keep track of time. So I'll quickly breeze through it. But I want to tell you all this story because there's a moral behind it. So मेरा एक दोस्त था नेबर एंड ईशा हैव आई टोल्ड यू ऑल दिस स्टोरी बताया मैंने नहीं शायद नहीं ओके ओके गुड गुड देन इट्स ओके देन इट्स फ्रेश एटलीस्ट चलो शुक्र है एंड this friend of mine was a Rambo, you know, he was a typical sporty guy developing muscles and all that. So he told me I'm going to appear for NDA. मैंने कहा NDA क्या होता है? वो तो हंसने लगा, कहता है तेरे को पता नहीं है NDA क्या होता है? So then I said no. He said National Defense Academy, Forge, ye wo, and he told me so many things. I said wow, great. And he went on to give the NDA exam and he flunked for a change. Then he came back very crestfallen and said, "Yaar, what tough tha exam, ye wo." So then I said something which changed my entire life. I said, "मैं भी try कर लेता." He laughed. I'm telling you this. 40 years ago, this happened. असली सत्य. वो इतना हंसा पेट मतलब पेट पकड़ के हंसा. Because I was a guy who never used to run. जो भी दौड़ता था मैं बस पकड़ने के लिए दौड़ता था बस. That's it. I was a bookworm, totally पढ़ाऊ type. That's how I got my teaching habit after Forge. And then when I said this, he said, "Ki yaar, tu NDA? Come on, man. Have a heart." I said, "Why not? I mean, it's a competitive exam. Anybody can do it." He said, "No, you need to have patriotism." I said, "Why not? Just like you love your country, I love my country. What's so great about it? I like uniform." He said, "अगर तूने फौज ज्वाइन किया ना वेंकट तो मैं अपने सर के मुंडन करा दूंगा." He said this 40 years ago. Okay, 40 years ago, and I still remember it. उस समय तो टीनेज में खून खोलता है. Insult is an insult. Terrible. I took it on as a challenge. I said मैं कुछ भी करूंगा, दिन रात मेहनत करूंगा. I'll get into NDA. Slogged for 6 months and got into NDA. So the moral of the story is that nothing is impossible if you will it. Nothing is impossible. A guy like me who never knew what NDA was got into the NDA. Of course, बाद में पता चला कि NDA कितना बढ़िया जगह है, कितनी फ्रंट रोलिंग होती है, कितना बैक रोलिंग होता है, कितना पनिशमेंट होता है, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. Literally for the first 7 days, I had very tough time. I said कहाँ पहुंच गया मैं. But then the only thing that kept me going was the इज्जत कि घर जाके मैं अपने दोस्त को क्या मुंह दिखाऊंगा. So that's what allowed me to get ahead in Forge. So these are small things in life, but they make a huge difference. And believe me, आज भी अगर मुझे कोई बोले कि फौज में जाओ वापस, मैं दौड़ के जाऊं. It's such a lovely life. Such a lovely life. I know you have to get up at 6 in the morning. You have to climb that horse that'll keep bucking you. You got to do so many things. You got to keep running when your ustad is behind and screaming at you. But it's all part of the game. At the end of the day, you realize that it's all for your good. And certainly it made I won't say it made a man out of me, otherwise I'll be gender biased. It made a soldier out of me. Is a much safer thing to say nowadays. But then yes, it changed me completely. And nothing, I mean, after you go through the training, there's nothing that you can get scared of. Believe me, the kind of training that they give today in our academy is second to none in the world. Our academy is one of the best in the world. It's the only tri-services academy in the whole of Asia, the National Defense Academy. And I would request you all, please, if you get the time, go to Pune, go to Khadakwasla, go and see this beautiful monument. But the only problem is they won't allow you in because you need a 4G to get it. You need a pass to get it. That's the only problem. But you want to go, let me know. I'll take you all. That's my promise. Okay. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. If nothing else, you'll enjoy boating in the Khadakwasla Lake. बहुत बढ़िया जगह है. It's a picnic, mind you. So that's it. And as far as my career is concerned, yes, I was, like I said, the academic kind, and I got a bronze torch also in my NDA. Torches are given to students who are very good at academics, and I came third in academics. And then because of that, I got into engineers. वो भी destiny था. Engineers मिला because in the NDA they give you only a degree. Yes. So then I was supposed to go to the College of Military Engineering, Pune. There I spent another beautiful 3 years as a captain saab, getting pay in uniform, studying my degree. I did my civil engineering there. And I did so well in my civil engineering, they called me back for my post-graduation. And after I did my post-graduation, again in CME, in structural engineering, they gave me the job of structural engineer, a designer in the army after that. So the next 10 years, I was a designer in the military engineer services. So I kind of shifted from combat engineering to military engineer services. But that was fine. I was using my brains, and don't think there aren't enough of people who have brains in the army. Yeah? बहुत सारे लोग हैं. It's not just that the army has bronze; it has a lot of brains too. You'll be amazed at the kind of divisions that are there in the army. I can spend a whole day explaining about Forge to you, but I don't think I have the time here for you. So I'll cut it short and fine again. 25 years. Highlights were, of course, my service in the regiment, which what stands out is the Himalayas, the mountains, J&K, Sikkim, then the deserts, Rajasthan, where we will lay in the literally on the sand for almost 9 months a year. That was another tough part of my, and of course, every day in Forge is, never a dull moment. Something exciting keeps happening. And like, it's a 24/7 job. So at 2 a.m. in the morning, you can be called. Literally, we go for duty at 2 a.m. for checks. We go at 4 a.m. to check the standard of meat and vegetables in the when it's going to be shipped out to the units before it goes. So we got to do a physical check of the stuff that goes to Jawans as duty officers. We got a whole lot of tasks. And in short, Forge is a very, very structured place. And literally getting out from Forge and getting into civil was one big, big problem for me. The adjustment was, I'll give you a simple example. Tell me how I finished with my time, Tanya, please. But how?
So actually, we're going to have a question answer round.
Go ahead.
All right. So, Ananya, would you like to start?
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for that inspirational life story. You've definitely made waking up at 6 a.m. sound very fun. Now, moving on to the question answer round. You are definitely an inspiration to us all, and we are curious to know who your inspiration is.
Good question. So, I'll be honest, multiple inspirations, not just one. In childhood, I still remember there's a lady, Deshmukh teacher, second standard. I still remember her. Very nice lady. She was my first inspiration, as they call it. She was a class teacher, second B. And then after that, when I went ahead, there were a multitude of people actually. There was a neighbor who, again, another lady. I've been quite lucky to have been influenced by a lot of women. We had a neighbor. Her name again was, she was an Vimal Limaye. Yeah, that was her name. And she was in fact a lady without kids. So she used to dote on me. I used to go to her house, and I'm saying inspiration because, I learned a lot from these people. I learned a lot of empathy, a lot of caring, a lot of, I would say, humane behavior, because that is what is important. Now you'll say, where did you learn your soldiering from? Yes, certainly that question would come to your mind. I was in Khadki, Pune in my formative years, in my schooling days from 2nd to 8th, because my dad was in the ordnance factory that time. And we used to live in a place called Ordnance Estate. We had neighbors who were Faujis. They were from the Ordnance Corps and they were in uniform. And they used to have lots of parties. And I was just 6 years old that time. So they used to invite me over for parties. Believe me, invite a 6-year-old for parties. And well, I still remember a guy putting a cigarette to my lips. I know you say that's not the right kind of inspiration, but that was my first, I would say, connect with the forge, with uniform. Maybe in my subconscious there was a love for the uniform that manifested itself later into getting into forge. You never know. Destiny plays a very strange part, and certainly as far as discipline is concerned, I have great respect for Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, our ex-president, a man who literally stern disciplinarian, a man who's a treat to watch if you see his life. That's my inspiration for you.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. I have another question for you. So, you've had many milestones in your career, but what was your proudest achievement?
Yes, I would rate my proudest achievement as A, having got into Forge, because that's something I succeeded in after a long time. Got into the portals of the National Defense Academy. Very proud moment for me. And most important, in my third year of service, I got a commendation card from the Army Commander for having done wonderful work in the mountains. I was leading a platoon of 40 men. We were building bunkers at about -10, -15 degrees, high up in the mountains at almost 18,000 feet, very close to the Chinese border. And we did it under very difficult conditions. We were miles and miles away, hundreds of miles away from habitation, not a single soul to see, claustrophobia, only mountains around. And in spite of that, we had to, I had to motivate my men to work, and we completed the work before time. So, of course, us samay josh tha as a lieutenant saab. So these are some of my moments that I cherish.
So the dichotomy of your life, like as an army engineer and as a freelance professor and consultant, is pretty stark. So, which life do you prefer?
You're giving me a very difficult choice to choose. I would seriously say I want both. Maybe I'm being very greedy about it, but honestly, I loved army life for what it was. I know I can't go back there again because we can't unless I have another life. And certainly, if I have another life, I would certainly want to be born a soldier again. But that apart, I certainly I looked on my teaching more as a hobby because it's something that I love doing. I do it with a lot of passion because it's more about sharing knowledge than anything else. It is not about getting academically up in the career at all. There was no talk of career at all. This was my second, I would say, innings, third innings, fourth innings. Pata nahi kya. I'm just enjoying it. That's it. So it's more a hobby, like playing on the guitar for me. But Isha, I do it with seriousness, I hope. हाँ ऐसा नहीं है कि गिटार
Yes.
प्ले कर रहे हैं सर क्लास में ठीक है ना I do it very serious and certainly I love my teaching.
Sir, so how do you think your army life has changed your current life?
Good question, Ayush. Very good question. It certainly made me more structured, more disciplined in my thinking, and you'll be surprised it has made me more I would empathetic towards human beings. You might wonder why, because I've seen a lot of suffering and I know what it takes for people to come up in their lives. So certainly it has shaped me and made me a better person than anything else I can say. And it has made me confident like hell.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the answer. I had a question. What changes have you seen in the defense forces since your time?
Good question again. A lot of changes, certainly. In my 25 years, there's been tremendous, I would say, improvement as far as technology and infrastructure is concerned in Forge. We've got equipment that is second to none in the world today, and we've got to learn quickly to make up for lost time. More importantly, our troops are getting more educated, and you can't really, tell them to do anything and everything. So you've got to be again humane with them. In the olden days, I think it was a probably a relic of the British era that they used to treat our men differently. In the sense, the Britishers were the officers and the men were Indians. I'm sure you understand that the connect. So they would treat us sometimes, albeit even with contempt. And unfortunately, in the defense forces, the officer was looked at as somebody who treated his men not so caringly. Unfortunately, because probably it was again carryover of the British Raj. But then definitely things have changed a lot. And today we treat our men like our very own brothers. Of course, as far as giving orders is concerned, we've got to be strict with them. But certainly we are definitely humane with them. That is a major change that I have seen. And today we don't hesitate to, treat them at par with us. Some of them are pretty well educated, believe me. Many of our soldiers today, quite a few of them are graduates today. Whereas in the olden days, they never used to even cross their 10th standard. That's the major change I have seen.
So, what made you choose?
Sorry. Yeah.
So, what made you choose teaching as a profession after being in the army?
Okay. Like I said, I have an academic bent of mind. I've always had an academic bent of mind. I've always been coming first in school throughout. And then once I got into the NDA, of course, I was hammered a little bit on the head with drill and PT and pata nahi kya kya. But the love of learning never left me. And that's how I proved it when I got engineers. I stood again second in my engineering, and I got my MTech. So there again, I kept pursuing my learning. Even during the army, in fact, I did my MBA at the age of 39 on a sabbatical from the army. Okay, so I was with 21-year-olds doing there. And I still remember a funny thing that when placements came, I jokingly said, I'm coming for placements. And my friends all warned me not to come inside the interview room. They said, Captain, Major Saab, aap yahan dikhai nahi doge. They kept me out of the placements. So, of course, it was a joke. But otherwise, I'm saying that I enjoyed learning even at the age of 39. Even today, I love learning. Even today, I open my presentations. I read my textbook. And believe me, I read a 700-page textbook even today, which is not a joke. It's just the love of learning, nothing else.
So, what is it that you miss the most about serving in the armed forces?
The camaraderie, the friendship, the dosti, the yari. That's what I miss the most. And of course, we made up for it. We have a WhatsApp group of about 300 mad guys who sit at us in the evening and over a glass of beer exchange stupid jokes in the evenings. But, in fact, in our minds, we still think that we are those 20-year-olds or 18-year-olds in shorts. पता चलता है कि यार चेहरा इतना बदल गया है when we see each other's faces. But then अंदर तो हम वही हैं. So it's the camaraderie that we miss the most.
So I really enjoy when you say stories in class about your army days and all of those things. So is there any fun memory or any memory that you would like to share with us today?
हाँ
from the army days?
हाँ बिल्कुल. See, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में बोल दूं, चलेगा? दौड़ेगा?
Yes,
sir.
हिंदी का फ्लेवर कुछ अलग ही है. I know it's going on YouTube, but still, why not यार? हम हिंदुस्तानी. So, and हाँ, तो मैं एक किस्सा बताऊंगा आपको होली की. So, होली में क्या होता है? मौज मस्ती होता है. I'm sure you know. And होली में we celebrate होली with real gusto and forge. बहुत ही स्टाइल में मनाते हैं हम फौज में. Because Holi, of course, is supposed to be spring and color and all that. And in the north, it is celebrated with a lot of, fervor. And most of our officer cadre are from Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana. Therefore, the fun and frolic in Holi, in fact, even Lodi, we celebrate with a lot of fervor. Lodi, then Holi. हाँ, तो होली का किस्सा मैं सुनाता हूँ कि I was new to Holi I had just joined the unit in, I think, January, and I wasn't aware of the tradition. तो होली का हमारा एक ट्रेडिशन होता था कि नए, I mean, the new anyone who joins the regiment, husband and wife को वो लोग स्विमिंग पूल में डंक करते हैं साथ में. ओके, सो वंशज समझ में आ रहा ना?
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
थोड़ा खिला पिला भी देते हैं और फिर बाद में स्विमिंग पूल में डंक कर देते हैं. सो फॉर मी इट वाज फन, बिलीव मी, आई एंजॉयड इट, and it was hilarious. But for my wife, who was totally new to Forge, it was a shock, believe me. And so this was one fun moment that I really enjoyed, seeing my wife being dunked for Holi. Okay. So of course, then later on we cleaned her up, and then she kind of calmed down. Connected to this, Vanshaj, if I may add another fun moment which I just remembered, because it is again connected to my wife, and I'll tell you why. Because the culture shock which people who are not in Forge, when they come into Forge and see what happens, it's a total shock for them. So my wife is a city bred lady, okay, Mumbaikar, throughout her life. She's from Parla. All she has seen is the Parla biscuit factory का जो smell आता है 4 बजे शाम को, वो smell उसको याद दिलाता है कि मैं बंबई में हूँ. And that's how she's grown up. So she came to Ajmer with me immediately after marriage. And my unit was in Nasirabad. Nasirabad is about 22 kilometers away from Ajmer. And it's through total jungle. Okay? तो अजमेर और नसीराबाद के बीच में पूरा जंगल ही है, टेरेन. एक रोड है बस. और what happened is कि शाम का समय था, गाड़ी आई 7, 7:30 बजे. By the time we alighted and got into the our unit vehicle, फौजी वाली गाड़ी, it became pretty dark. तो अजमेर में there are street lights, city है. So suddenly, as soon as we left the city, became pitch dark. So my wife started asking, where are the street lights? That was my first intonation into her ki, you can forget about street lights for quite some time now. Okay. And then once we reached Nasirabad, she found the accommodation pretty terrible, because it was a ramshackle one room which was actually made up and given to us as a privilege because we were recently married, and then we had to somehow make do in that. And the best part was that the light was common. You see, it was run through a generator. So they used to off it at 10 o'clock in the night. And there were switches kept, but the switches didn't work. So the moment the lights went on at night, she switched it on. She tried to switch it on. She said, "Yaar, kaam nahi kar raha." I said, "You kaam nahi karega." She said, "Kyun?" My generator off ho gaya, abhi so jao. So that was the second culture shock. The third culture shock was the next afternoon, there was a sandstorm and the whole kitchen was full of sand. She actually started crying. She said, "Main yahan se ja rahi." I had to somehow calm her down. So Vanshad, enough of surprises?
Yep. But sir, you can't stop telling us stories in class also.
हाँ,
It's
बिल्कुल
fun.
बोलूंगा मैं till you all get tired.
Sir, these stories are so interesting. We just love it. But if you could bring some change from Army College to like the other universities, what would it be?
The Army, since I've been through the College of Military Engineering, I've been through even a course in the Military College of Telecommunication at MCT Mau, where I did my Regimental Signal Officers course. Our colleges are pretty, I would say, well planned. I'm not saying civil colleges are not well planned, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into the making of anything that the Army has today. And I wish the civil would learn to plan. In fact, again, I don't want to get into the teaching mode, but I'm sure you understand that strategy comes from Army General.
Absolutely.
So it's the Army that has taught the concept of strategy to the world. And this is one thing I want civil to, take home, that whenever they do something, so that it stands for the rest of many, many years. Believe me, institutions like the Military College of Telecommunication Engineering, the MCEME at Secunderabad, the Joint Air Warfare School at Secunderabad, and the College of Military Engineering, you must see them to believe them. They are institutions by themselves.
Absolutely.
So, following to that question, so do you think there are any correlations that can be applied in classrooms as well as the border?
Yes, definitely. In army training, we have something called sand model discussion. So, we have a hollow created on the ground, और उसके ऊपर रेत डालते हैं, और उस रेत के ऊपर color powder डालते हैं. So we have red land and blue land. Red land obviously is enemy. Blue land is obviously own forces. तो हम अपने फौज को वहां खड़ा करते हैं, दुश्मन की फौज को खड़ा करते हैं. फिर हम कहते हैं देखो इसका एक बटालियन इधर जाएगा, उसका एक ब्रिगेड उधर जाएगा. So we do these war games on the sand model, and it's a great learning before we do the exercise on the ground. Similarly, if you can actually correlate what you're doing in your theory with a lot of application for your students, I think that would make a big difference. And that is very much important, especially in MBA, because in MBA, it's more application oriented.
So, which army routine and habit you continue till date and would recommend for all of us, all the youth?
I certainly enjoy good communication, although I'm not sure how much others enjoy it. I've learned to be a little maybe loud and strong in the army. A lot of commands that we had to do in the army. It's become kind of second nature. More importantly, the good habits that I have really endured are exercise, keeping fit, and never giving up. Never giving up. Anything else?
So we had one last question. I think Ayush wanted to ask this. He was asking how much time did it take for you to reach the post that you have right now?
Yeah, so I'll tell you. There are, I'll be very frank with you. There are some positions which are time scale and some positions which you earn through your selection grade. So while till your major, you earn your rank through time scale, but even for that, you need to have, life in the army is not so easy, believe me. And especially as an officer, you've got to really, really slog. You've got to slog continuously. And it's like continuous assessment, because we have something called an ACR, an annual confidential report, written by your commanding officer and your immediate superior, where you have to get at least 8 average and minimum 4 9s, okay, out of 10 grading. And one of those 9s has to be in integrity and moral turpitude. So this is a minimum requirement for you to even continue in forge. Secondly, having earned all those, you also need to pass certain exams. And for becoming a captain, you need to pass something called Part B exams. And they're not just one exam, they're a set of exams in which there's military history also as a paper. And then you also need to pass another set of exams to become a Major Saab, and that is Part D. And all that happens during these formative years. So normally one becomes a captain by the age, after you serve for 5 years. Okay, that's a substantive captain. And you become substantive means not an acting captain. An acting captain is somebody who can, you can put on the rank of a captain even in field. Your commanding officer can put on your rank in field even one day in service. Hello. Hello. Yeah. So even if you're 1 day in service, your commanding officer, if there is a vacancy in the unit in field, he can put your captain's rank for you. And then to become this, it's similar to be an acting major. You can become an acting major even before 9 years of service, provided there is a vacancy in the unit. And that happens very often in field, but it can't happen in peace. Okay. So we have, when we go to field postings, we put on senior ranks. And the sad part is when we come back to peace, we have to remove those ranks. It's just like when a naval officer who is a commander, if he goes on top of a ship and captains the ship, he puts on a captain's rank. But the moment he leaves the ship, he has to take off his rank. So that is how it is. And after becoming a major of 9 years, then there is something called a selection grade after 16 years. But then I became a lieutenant colonel after 18 years of service, and then I left Forge after 25 years. So it took me 18 years to reach the rank of lieutenant colonel. Sorry, not 18, 16 years.
So I have another question. So what are the honorary ranks in military? Like I have seen a lot of honorary ranks in military. Can you please elaborate on that?
Certainly, certainly. Good question, good question. So an honorary rank is given to it is given to JCOs and NCOs. A JCO is a junior commissioned officer and an NCO is a non-commissioned officer. Now, these two ranks are actually non-officer ranks. So it's the men who are, who start as soldiers. So you start as a Lance Naik, then you become a Naik, then you become a Havaldar, then you become a Naib Subedar, a Subedar, and finally a Subedar Major. These are the ranks where you get honorary ranks. Honorary ranks are given generally during times like the Republic Day, the Independence Day, during investiture ceremonies for good service and good conduct. So if a person has served so many years, when he goes on retirement, he gets the next rank as a commissioned, as an honorary commission. So a Subedar can go home as an honorary captain. So he'll get the benefits of, at least the rank pay of a captain. It's given as a pure motivation to people who have served their entire life with a lot of josh.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. On this note, we would like to draw this event to a close. We can't begin to thank Lieutenant Colonel Venkat Raman for taking the time out to grace this momentous occasion. We can't think of a better person than you, sir, to highlight the importance and the personification of our Republic Day. Thank you so much for being with us today. Your widely spanning life and work has really helped set the tone for today, and we are sure that a lot of us draw inspiration from your life and times. We are forever grateful. Also, thank you so much for being such a fun, curious, and intrigued audience and making this platform possible. It was nice to see so many of our youth take time out and listen to Sir and truly imbibe the meaning of our nation's Republic Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khushi, and thank you everybody, including Isha, who invited me.